Hey guys, so welcome to day one of what we covered in texturing. Unfortunately, there is nothing that I can show you, and the answer is going to be very very simple because what we are trying to show to students is actually very specific to the class. And if you're not in the class, and then I'm really sorry I wouldn't be able to show that to you. But essentially, what we discussed was the theory behind how texturing works, regardless of which software it is. It doesn't matter if it's Blender, Game Photoshop, or Substance Painter for that matter. And obviously I did give them the pros and cons of using Substance Painter, but Blender is just really good, and I'm just going to tell that to you. If you're a viewer, Blender is really good because the resolution that you can work with and output and export out of is based on your computer specifications rather than the innate ability of the software itself, of which license you have. So by saying that, essentially what I'm trying to do is I want the students to be more creative rather than be bound to a particular thing. So obviously I'll be showing them the same things, the same stuff in Substance Painter as well, though I'm a little rusty on that. But because the basics are so clear in my head that I know that when I go to Substance Painter, that it is not going to be doing anything more or less. It is just going to be the way that it is. And I'll show that to them as well. And that is going to be really the basics, because on day one we just try to make sure that everyone is on the same level, and then we push on to really good stuff. And then hopefully by tomorrow you will be able to see what we are trying to achieve with our texturing classes. And by tomorrow I think we'll start working with really like kind of a solid basics understanding of how color and theory and all that kind of works, so that we're able to bring it together in a very clean format. And then as the month progresses, we're going to start tiling down the grunge, the textures and all that stuff for it, so that we are able to achieve a very good result out of it. And now moving on to day two. Hey guys, this is going to be day two of understanding how to work with textures, right? And as a 3D in our obviously class, obviously we went over how to create basic textures within Unreal Engine while drawing a parallel with Blender as well, right? So we need to find that correlation between these softwares, how they talk to each other. Not only that, but how can we set up our project so that when we are actually doing the modeling aspect of it, that we're not lost and that we are not looking for anything else. And so it becomes very very important of how we can push for this. And so if you guys are interested in pursuing this with us, please let me know. But I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we're going to start really trying to make this come to life. All right guys, and I will see you next time. Today was really important for texturing. Day 3 we talked about texture density and how everything we do in it affects a lot of things, and just trying to make them understand how putting them proportionally correct on the UV map, what is a UV map. And certain basics are never clear with the Indian students because they're not taught well in the 3D institutes at all. What I mean by that is they need to understand what kind of when to make the correct decision of choosing the correct texture resolution from the image that we'll be deriving it from, and pushing this to become even better. Like in the sense, like when to choose for a high poly texture, high poly count with a high resolution texture, so that they're able to push this for cinematic stuff. But if they were making sure that this was going to be used in a game, then it needs to be optimized for those certain things, especially with our this thing here. And one of the things, just made sure this is a little bit related to modeling, but when you make something like this, and I just want to show this to you in rendered mode, is like this. Yes, you can make this in texturing, all that stuff, but the kind of realism that this glass can achieve can only happen if the model is correctly placed, right? If it's made correctly, it will look correct. Does that make sense? I hope it did, because that is exactly the kind of teaching that we are teaching our students, so that we are able to push forward, and we're going to make sure that we can take this to the next level. And yeah, it was really fun. We're trying to get through all of this stuff, and we are kind of making the base materials for this, so that we are able to pursue them both in like procedural way and in terms of texture painting them. So it is going to be fun. And yeah, I'll see you guys in day 4. Welcome to day 4 of understanding the texturing class. This always throws people off. Obviously I teach them both the ways, it's not only just one. And so students had a lot of questions, especially for our UV unwrapping and how to do it. And a couple of students have also brought in their own older work, in which I just kind of guided them if they're trying to make it for the game development. Obviously, this is one of those things, this is my method of doing it, so they don't have to follow this along at all. This is my method, it is really fast, and I'm just trying to get the point across. Obviously if they were in a studio, it would be a completely different thing. And so I'm teaching them both the methods so that they're never lost with the UV unwrapping. And a lot of comments and a lot of positive feedback that they're learning things that they haven't before, which is something that I can live with. It's something that makes me feel really great about myself and what I'm trying to do for these kids, and they are kind of enjoying what is happening as well. But without further ado, let me just quickly show you. This is the kind of stuff that we're working with, and obviously just showed them a little bit of basic stuff like this. But let's go in the shader editor and really plug in this thing, and we're going to try to make them reach this level, so we're able to understand this and how to push further for it. And if they do something like this, and obviously having other things, how to set up it, how to set everything up from the get-go itself. And when we go on rendered, now you can see the glass is kind of tainted and it's not perfect, and obviously making it go any color that we want to. Obviously not at the moment, we're just trying to focus on the basics of it, and hence we are going to work on something like this. And it's I think it's going to come out really, really great. I think they are asking a lot of questions, which is a great sign that they really want to learn more and more and more and more, which is great. And as I said, just teaching them both sides of the game development as well, how to make a game ready asset. And the same thing applies to texturing as well. You've been following along or modeling videos series, you'll realize that there is a kind of a method in which you have to kind of think clearly about these things as well, right? And so that will be it, and for now, and yeah, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So for our texturing class, as you can see, I tried to show my students how to get this professional looking roughness map. So we've just begun, and we are going to focus on how to bring this to life and how it can look really, really amazing. Just giving them hope and giving them the right techniques that they need, so that they're able to pursue this even further, right? So that they're able to bring this to life, and that they will be able to become better artists. And this is something that I told them, I'm going to tell you guys as well. You need at least 100 hours within your belt to be even considered good at texturing on this level. They saw my speed, the way that I was working, and they quickly realized this is something that they will need to be, they need to put in the time to get on my level. And that is not to boast. Obviously I can, at this point where I can show it to my students very confidently of what to do, because I have spent hours doing this, right? And that is why you'll be able to see this in all of my portfolio all throughout the whole thing. And without wasting any further time, we're gonna spend the rest of the 3 weeks when texturing just doing exactly this, so that we can bring this to life and we can make this count. And yeah, I think it's going to be really, really fun, and I think the final result is going to look quite crazy. Let me just show this to you in our this thing, and as you guys can see, we have this sun coming out from there, and I think this is gonna look fantastic by the time we are done. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I will be seeing you guys very, very soon. Welcome to day 6, guys, of looking at our texturing classes. Look at this. We had a wonderful time. Along with this, you can see how beautifully this is coming along, and obviously I'll show you the rendered one as well. And this is the one that we ended up giving that light grain of a roughness to it, and it came along quite well. I think it came along better than the other one. And here is going to be the rendered view, and as you guys can see, this is the result. And so this is what we've been trying to achieve with our this thing. A little bit of pieces are still left, but essentially this is what we have achieved, and we're having a really fun time in the class of understanding how everything works, and really coming actually the reality is, when students see this, they realize that Substance Painter is not that great. That's the reality, and it's not actually doing anything that is going to give you the ability to master your own texturing, and that is the reality of things. And plus, you're paying for it extremely high. And here we go. And this is the kind of stuff that we'll be doing, and we'll be even pushing it even further. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.